Hey YouTube, good morning. Well, it's been a while since we got a software update, and this morning early I got 10.69.3.3, which is on the 2022.40 branch. So this is not the holiday release, and this is not version 11 single stack. This is the version that has the addition of dog mode internal camera monitoring. But it's an increase. The last update I received was on November 19th, which was 69.3.1. There was a 3.2 that only went out to employees, and they've been working on a 3.3 for a while. So the release notes that are printed here, and I did post these on Twitter this morning, they are the exact same release notes as 69.3.1. So, you know, these notes in here are the same, nothing to discuss. So it's a little bit rainy here today. So it's kind of not a great lighting day, but I did want to try to get out and get a couple drives done. Hopefully we'll have some time to get the drone in the air and maybe do some unprotected left turns, dedicated anyway. But let's do a Memorial Park initial impressions drive just to see if we see anything that we don't really like, and or that we do like. We'll see how it goes. All right, so I'll start out with the typical route here, and we will be on our way. It's 8 o'clock on a Thursday morning, so it is a little bit of rush hour kind of time frame right now. Starting off with this unprotected right turn. Cars have their headlights on. We've got the creep limit, and it needs to stop. Okay, it went out there pretty far, but I'm comfortable with where it stopped. Nice little, a lot of traffic to the left right now. I don't have my 360 camera on the top of the car at the moment because of the rain. And the way I use it, it is not waterproof. Basically, the power port that I use, I have the door removed so that it's not completely waterproof. Yeah, it's going to have to sit here for a little bit. Let's see how patient it is. While we're waiting, look. Let's see how looks like the creep limit is kind of bouncing around quite a bit. It definitely is not as far out in the traffic as it usually is, but it is definitely not stable. It's moving around a lot. All right, the gaps are starting to come here. It'll be interesting to see if it jumps out here after the next two cars, because the right lane is open and it can go. Stay in the, here we go. It picked a nice spot. That was good. So patiently waited. It had a good creep limit. The creep limit was jumping around a little bit. It chose the right spot. And if you notice that car that just crossed in front of us, I didn't feel any braking there. Sometimes we've had, you know, kind of phantom, I don't want to call them phantom braking, but over-aggressive braking when cars kind of cut out in front of you. Here's another one, a little bit further out in the distance there, and you see it didn't slow down really at all. That was good. I tell you, it's been a long time, you know, since I've, you know, had much to look at on FSD. It's you know, the last build we have has been the last one to test. You know, I haven't been out here just banging on it every single day to see if anything's changed. You know, I've done a few drives. I do drive with it almost every single day that I'm driving the car, but there just wasn't much behavior change. I was really just kind of anticipating the release of version 11, but after Elon tweeted on November 11th, and I remember that day because it was Veterans Day, that version 11 went out to employees. I really thought it was imminent, but something must have happened, and they just were not ready to release it out to the beta testers publicly. So yeah, you know, there's a little bit of rumor speculation going on right now that this release we just got today was to get us up to the .40 branch, so that we can go to .44, I believe it is. That's the holiday release, and possibly bring us up to version 11 before the end of the year. I have no idea whether that's a possible speculation or not, but you know, I have to say version 11 single stack, I do not have super duper high hopes that it's going to be amazing out of the box. Just mostly due to the number of false starts we've had on getting to version 11 over the last year. I'm really just kind of expecting the merge from city streets to highway to come together, but to have the same sort of kind of bug fixes to work through to make it smooth. All right, here's where I do my normal disengagement to go to the right here to force it back into the Avondale neighborhood. And as soon as this light turns red, I will go ahead and disengage and bring it to the right. Yeah, so when single stack comes, you know, we'll get out here and add some scenarios from city streets to joining the highway and then back into city streets to watch it seamlessly all work. Possibly some comparisons to Navigator and Autopilot and how it doesn't center in the lane very well, how it doesn't merge very well. I do think there's a lot of benefit that could come out of version 11 single stack on the highway. But I also think that some of the inconsistencies we have in city streets, when we take them to the highway, will be a little bit of a regression from the quality of the ride there. Okay, so turning right here, and we'll let the navigation remap. A little bit of an obstruction here in the road. I'm just gonna go ahead and engage it here. I don't know if you see a little bit of a, looks like a box. It didn't render it at all. It didn't quite hit it, but it didn't render it. You can kind of see my windshield wipers are kind of going lightly. It's kind of a light sprinkle. There's a huge front coming, so there's going to be some downpours here soon. Not exactly sure the exact timing, but I think I should be able to get this drive done before it really starts coming down, where it makes it difficult to test FSD. All right, looks like we got a green light scenario. It should be an unprotected, oh, it's gonna go yellow. Is it gonna roll it? It should stop, and it did. That was good. I like that decision. It kind of felt like it was gonna go for it there for a second, but it changed it. All right, so we're turning left here. Sometimes it takes this turn a little wide. I don't really know why this turn is different other than maybe where those curbs are mapped. There's no red on that opposite side. This one wasn't too wide. Yeah, it was. See how it's kind of coming back? I always get a lot of comments on this pink Porsche there. Okay, so we're going straight here. Coming up on some scenarios that I like to talk about here on the right with the way the cars are parked and how it marks the drivable space here. I'm really waiting for the day that we have parking spaces marked here, and it's not, and the red drivable space is all the way over there to the right. It needs a little white line or some sort of imaginary there. Here it actually does hug the left line, okay, the center line, and there are some areas where the way it maps this, it doesn't, and see how that white line is there? That's what I'm waiting on. All right, we have unmapped traffic circles coming up. Let's see how it does this here. It has been stopping at this yield rather than proceeding. And it's doing the same thing here. So I'm gonna hit the snapshot button, which I still have. And a little bit of a slowdown there that it needs to kind of keep going. But you know, so the unmapped nature of this is kind of why it's interesting. So I'm gonna let it go the mapped way today here. It's gotta go around this traffic circle, but I've got a flashing school zone at the moment. All right, it's good there. Good, ooh, a little bit jerky. It saw the curb, little bit jerky here. Speed limit 15 when flashing. It is flashing. Is it gonna change? All right, it did not change, so I could have just scrolled it down, but I wanted to slow down with the brake very quickly there. I don't want to be speeding in a school zone. All right, and we're out of the school zone, so I can re-engage there. So flashing signs, you know, timed speed zones is definitely something we're gonna have before we can really call this, you know, a possible door almost open there. I don't know if you saw, I saw the door crack. That was very, very interesting. I don't think that it mapped it until after the driver opened it completely when it was in my rear view mirror. Okay, this is good. You know, the signage issue, I don't know. I would think they would be working on it now, you know, where it's reading signs like road closed or reading signs like school zone. You know, whether they're leveraging a language model like GPT-3 or something with optical character recognition rather than just training on signs, it feels like is going to have to be something they get to. Flashing yellow here, couple red still mixing in there. That has not changed in 2 years. Still, it gives me a little bit of red. The behavior is fine. It's going through the yellow just fine. It's not really over slowing down, but the colors represented on the screen throws in a little bit of red when it's right above me. So it's the angle that it's looking up maybe that is affecting its perception there. Okay, here we should be turning to the right, and we are mapped that way. It's got a yellow to a red, so right, ooh, car right behind me, and look how it's totally hogging the whole road. It should be over to the right when it's turning right. Now it should go, oh gosh. And the only reason I'm saying, oh gosh, is because of the way I'm just kind of weaving in this lane here. Kind of show you here to the left. It should be able to go right about now. See how that creep limit is kind of moving again? That was fine. The only thing I didn't like about that is the right turn, I need to hug closer to the right. A couple cones, it's mapping here. A large semi here in a neighborhood. Wow, he's really a big truck for this neighborhood. Okay, here, four-way stop sign. Doing that just fine. Here, sometimes in this little section, I've got a stop sign to the left that does not apply to me. And this time, it stopped for it. Okay, so it stopped for it again. I'm gonna do another snapshot there. And it's proceeding for the wrong stop sign. And here, there's another speed limit thing here. And I don't know if you see, I'm at 15 miles an hour, which is mismapped. I've reported that several times, so I'm just scrolling it back up to the speed limit for the neighborhood. All right, everything looks okay there. So the same issues, those exact same issues were on the 69.3.1. That stop sign on the left, it stopped for it last time. The speed limit was still there. Obviously, that's map data. That's not a build issue. So I'm not feeling a whole lot of change yet. Car to the right here, he's identified as blue, then he stopped and blue went away. No change there, that looks good. Identified the speed limit 30 sign, and you can see my speed limit change back there right when it passed that sign. The contrast in a light overcast day, even with a little bit of light rain, I actually think the cameras like this environment. When I say like this environment, because there's no sun glare to deal with, there's no really, the lighting is kind of even and smooth. I think headlights even help the car. So these other cars having their headlights on, it identifies them a little bit better. This is lighting that I think the car prefers. Other than the fact that if the windshield wipers speed up a little bit more, or the rain picks up a little bit more, there's some alerts and warnings to where FSD can be degraded or not even available. I'm not sure if we're going to get to that point or not on this drive, but if we do, we'll talk about it. All right, so we have just a straightaway here. A couple more interactions. On this next little section, there's a couple potholes that are good to see. And a couple of good lane choices it has to make here. All right, we are protected straight. These cars to the right have right on red capability, and you see how they were creeping way up. It didn't slow down for them at all, which was really good because we had the right of way. All right, here in this section, you got this median here that's not allowed to use. It looks like the light just turned yellow and then red, and it shows the center lane, which is correct, and you see the lane network there highlighting a little bit blue. While we're sitting here at that intersection, I don't know if you noticed how that lane network was throwing some polygons in the intersection. And look at this, we have a car right in front that is fading in and out. That was interesting because I can only see the car right in front of me through the glass. I don't think that the camera up there, this is interesting. I don't think I've seen that behavior before. I don't know if it's just exactly lined up with my lead car that's perfectly covering it up and occasionally it sees something. See here when we move, if it sees it too. And there's that lane network already working, so it doesn't see it at the moment. So that fade in, fade out of that lead car was interesting to see because the lights showed up differently than the asset, which is even a little bit of a clue that I wonder if lights are being overlaid on top of the assets rather than being a part of it. Have to think about that a little bit more. A couple potholes up here. I really don't want it to go straight through. You can just kind of see where these puddles are. Yeah, it didn't do any dodging of them, but I also didn't have to jump out of the way. It was just a little bit of random luck there. Lane centering is fine here. I don't know if you can see the way that car went way around this little section here with that pothole. The Tesla decided just to stay in its lane and go straight through it. Not many pedestrians out in the rain to deal with, so obviously we're not having any of these crosswalks occupied. And it should just continue to go straight through here. And right about where that lead car is the end of the route, and I'll disengage and we'll get our return back in there. And here we are at Memorial Park. Let's see where the destination is. Oh wow, it's got a little bit of a, oh, I actually put a different destination in here. So it actually does this right turn for me map. Let's see how it goes. It's got the blinker on. This funny intersection is really interesting and it's taking it just fine. Okay, ooh, and a pedestrian. And that was me disengaging just because I startled him. And honestly, I didn't see the pedestrian until we came around the corner either. Okay, so a lot happened right there at the end. I got an FSD may be degraded message because of the rain. It was turning right, and then there was a pedestrian in the middle of the road as I had a very aggressive acceleration out of the turn coming around, and I disengaged primarily for the comfort of the pedestrian. Just because I wanted the car to stop. I didn't want it to go around him. Okay, that's good. So some things to talk about there. Let me get our return in here and get it re-engaged. Kind of see the choppy river out there today. A little bit of traffic to deal with here. Not sure. All right. I love those ultrasonic sensors. I hope that Vision can actually match their performance. All right, as we engage here, we have a left turn at this very acute angle intersection here. Interesting, it's showing that car door was open a little bit and his door was not open, so that was a little bit of a false indication there. Now look what it's doing with the median projection. There is no creep limit projected yet, but see that little blue? It's almost like it's projecting a median out there that it really shouldn't be projecting. And it's inaccurate because it's a straight line here on a curve anyway. Now it's got the creep limit. That creep limit is fine. I'm comfortable with that. And it should go right now. But that blue spot is not a safe place for it to stop. And it didn't go there anyway. So it just kind of was projecting that it's almost like it was a median network like I have on my unprotected left turn. Yellow light here, it should probably stop. And it did. We're starting to get to that rain level that I have a feeling we're going to have some FSD not available. We'll probably go through the full cycle where it gets degraded, and then if it continues to pick up, it'll actually take it away. But if it's engaged, it'll try to stay engaged for a little while. There's some sort of equation between precipitation it detects with the camera and or the windshield wiper speed kind of being a clue into how bad the precip is when it starts to degrade modes. All right, let me just check on this route here. That's fine for now. Can you see the windshield wipers just picked up speed a little bit? It's not long after that happens that we get a little warning down here that FSD may be degraded. Well, and the auto wipers slowed down just a smidge again. So we're right in that threshold. And there it is. FSD may be degraded. So I just got the alert. I got an audible chime there. And now you see it says Navigate on Autopilot is unavailable. Now, I am not in Navigate on Autopilot. I am in City Streets, FSD Beta. So it has not taken away anything yet. You see, I've still got my blue steering wheel. I've still got my traffic aware cruise control indication that it's on. So these are alerts that are actually not aligned with the mode I'm in. So there's some crossover code there that we're dealing with. And it wants to go left here. Okay, that's good. It's a little bit different than our normal route, but I'm going to let it go this direction because I think this turn scenario here is a good one. And you can see here the scenario with this flashing red triangle here with an exclamation point, poor weather detected. Now, this will go away and nothing will change. I haven't lost a mode yet, but if I were to go to the highway right now, Navigate on Autopilot would not be available. So this is a true actual warning for Navigate on Autopilot, but not quite City Streets. All right, we've got a right on red possibility scenario here. Let's see where it decides to go. Got a creep limit that's way out there. Should be fine. And then it got a green light right there at the last second. Some good lane projection there, even though it's a single lane road. I guess it might have been doing that lane projection because of the parking spots on the right, and it was determining where it needed to place its path. Flashing yellow up ahead. It should continue. See if we get that red right when the light goes above us again. Oh, I got some red early on that one. So weird how it's projecting that red, but it's not stopping. So it's just somehow got some buffer logic in there that it recognizes it has some perception on color. Looks like this truck has his blinker on ahead of us, but he's not going to turn in front of us. Little bit of braking there, down to 28. I can feel it tugging a little bit. Not sure what those brake taps were for. It's fine. We're in a subdivision. Some people might be going around 30, 35 here, but this is the appropriate speed for the conditions for sure. So it does feel like the rain has lightened up a bit. The windshield wipers have slowed down to intermittent, and I no longer have the warnings down here. So we may have been in that scenario where the weather kind of backed off just a bit. All right, we're getting ready to go through a small little village called Avondale. On a day like today, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot, but it's a lot of pedestrian traffic, a lot of cars backing out of weird intersections. And today we do have a truck, it looks like a food delivery truck that's kind of parked parallel here. But this is the very easy scenario for pedestrians to jump out. And there's a yellow, it should slow all the way down. See how this car backed out to the left over here? That sort of thing happens a lot on this little strip. So there's a lot of kind of interactions where the car might overreact. Just up ahead, I don't know if you can see it through the camera, because I think you probably can. It's got a little bit of a detour sign to the left. That does not apply to me, I don't believe. But if you see, it doesn't map or see any of these sort of signs right now. It just completely ignores them. Starting to feel a little bit heavier rain coming on. I'm starting to see it on the windshield a little bit more. I bet we get another degraded conditions alert here in a few seconds. '28, slowed down to 28 in the 30 there. Just being cautious, I guess. Now, we have this S-curve coming up here, and this S-curve is always interesting because there's a couple of these curves that are sharp enough that it turns the blinker on. I bet it does here on this first one here, and there it is, a right blinker here for this curve. So there's some sort of geometry that is still in there that if the path takes you a certain number of degrees, it thinks the blinker is the appropriate decision. Left blinker there, also inappropriate, but it's still doing that. So another behavior that has been there a long, long time and has not changed. Car cut out in front of me, and a really good decision there. The calculation of that path was good. It did not need to slow down. I felt a tap, but it didn't overdo it at all. Okay, sorry guys, I disengaged there for that roadkill. That was a possum that was dead on the road, and it was gonna go straight for it, and I did not want to clean out my tires. Okay, this is another interesting intersection. It's unmapped appropriately. It's got a traffic circle. The map data still has lights, so you see it's got this path projection here, and it's doing this all visually. The map data has not caught up yet. I'm stopping in the wrong spot. I'm stopping at the crosswalk. I do have a car behind me. I'm not gonna be able to let this go. Okay, I'm tapping the accelerator now. So to get up here to the right yield. Now it's in the right spot. It needs to go to the right. Now it has the right of way. It should just proceed. Okay, all right guys, I can't just, it's too busy. It's not doing it. I'll go ahead and hit the camera icon there again and re-engage as soon as I can. Okay, yep. It started freaking out a little bit here with that drivable space, and that unfortunately wasn't a safe thing to do in the conditions with the traffic. So that was another disengagement. It has had trouble with that spot a lot because of the map data and the lanes not matching what it sees vision wise, and it feels like there's drivable space to the right, and this right turn it wants to take, it tries to jump over there, and it was doing a very erratic search routine. If you watch my Memorial Park drives in the past, it is always a little bit sketchy right there because it's a fight between vision and map data as to what it's seeing versus what it expects to do on the planner. Truck backed out here. Is it going to slow down? Turn. Okay, it did deviate to the right a little bit, but it did not over slow there. That was interesting. I expected it to slow down just a bit more than it did. All right, crossing the yellow line to go around that traffic, and here is our only unprotected left for this drive, and today we've got a much more dynamic scenario. There's cars in the median, it's going all the way to the creep limit, and it needs to wait. Okay, it's waiting, those cars have the right of way, it has the median mapped appropriately where it can go. All right, now that those guys are out of the way, we have traffic to the left it has to yield to. I know I don't have my 360 camera on today, so you're just gonna have to listen to me tell you where the gaps are. I'm comfortable with where it stopped. It thinks it has a little bit more distance to go, and it could probably take that foot out if it needed to. But very dense traffic to the left in rainy conditions. A lot of mist kind of showing up on the road around all of the tires that's kind of adding to the visibility. So what's going to probably happen here is there's a stoplight 1 block to the left. It's probably going to have to sit here until that light turns red and creates a gap. I don't think we're going to get a natural gap at this rush hour. And when that gap is created, as long as that median is open, oh, there's a spot here. It might try. It can't go. It can't go. Oh, okay. It went for a spot with not enough commit. It was doable, but it didn't give the commit it needed. So I went ahead and took over. In these rainy conditions, I was not going to risk any sort of unsafe gaps there. Okay, well, I'm sorry I didn't have my 360 camera for you to be able to see that traffic appropriately. I just don't think it could see far enough, and it chose a gap that it could have gone for, but to go into that gap, it needed to use Tesla acceleration and jump out to the median. It wasn't doing that. It was kind of doing its creep out, creep out, creep out, and then once it kind of started committing. I did what it needed to do that it wasn't willing to do at the moment. In any case, that was a little bit disappointing, but I think that's a hardware 3 limitation still. I just think we are at the edge of its capability of seeing high-speed cross traffic. I still believe that. I've been saying that for 2 years. I'm not changing my mind on that one. Okay, we're coming up towards the end of our drive here. We have a couple more intersections, perhaps one more unprotected left turn forward facing here at the end. Just make sure that lane, okay, that lane adjustment was good. A little bit of braking here as this car now wants to jump over to the right. That's okay. And it was, that was a good lane choice decision here. A little bit dynamic, and I think it was doing that because of that car turning to the left and this right lane was open. And it's proceeding straight here. It felt like it was going to jump over into that left lane a second, but it didn't have the blinker on at all. All right, so as we kind of come at the crest of this bridge here and want to have some kind of closing thoughts about what we think, 10.69.3.3, which brought us up to the 2022.40 branch, is definitely just a bug fix, but it's a bug fix with a branch jump. So we were previously on 2022.36 branch, and now we're up on the .40 branch. So there was obviously a lot of code integration that had to happen to get us here, and some possible tweaks inside the code that we didn't really notice today. It feels like the same sort of drive that we had on .1. So perhaps they're just bringing us up to the latest branch to get us closer to release the single stack or the holiday release. And the holiday release that many production cars are getting right now is on the 2022.44 branch, I believe. If I'm mistaken there, I apologize. I think I got that right. So it's a bug fix and a jump in branches. It enabled dog mode and a few other features. All right, here we go. Gonna get in this left lane. It's an unprotected left, no green arrow at the moment. It cannot go in this gap right here. Interesting, this car is getting in this turn lane, which does block traffic behind it. And now it's gonna end up getting a protected turn because of the yellow light turning to red, and we'll get our green arrow. So we're gonna finish up here on an easy one, I think. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you saw anything I didn't see, I love it when you guys give the comments here. If it does dry out just a little bit, I'll get the drone in the air today and do a few unprotected left turns just so we have a video record of this build with some dedicated UPLs. And I know many of you like to see the unmarked roads scenarios too on how the car handles the road centering. I do not expect a change in any of that. It feels like this is just a bug fix that smooths some things out. If the lane centering on unmarked roads was one of the things they smoothed out, maybe we'll see that. There's our green arrow, protected, coming to the left. All right, wow, a nice little boost there. Well, that's how we'll finish this one today, guys. On the first impressions drive to Memorial Park and back on FSDBeta 10.69.3.3. Have a great day.